Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is Sean here from Omi Nerves Photography, OMNP. We are kicking off my first podcast. The podcast is going to be called the Viewfinder Sessions. A little bit about what we're going to be talking about, as I bumble over my words already, is just some things that are near and dear to my heart, and I think I have something to say on, such as photography, such as travel, mental health, creative outlets, such as photography and art and music, as a way to, I always want to say combat or battle, but that's not the word that I'm looking for, um, to cope, I guess, with mental health and other aspects of our lives. We're also going to do some interviews. We're going to also do some gear reviews, talk about gear that I use, talk about gear that I uh, I have in the field. I want to talk about some tips and tricks when it comes to those different topics, right? Travel, photography, mental health, and also want to have some guests on. We want to have some guests from the professional fields of photography, travel, mental health, creative outlets, different things like that. So that's kind of the plan. Um, Kind of going off my notes as well, but at the same time, I'm gonna just wing some of this stuff for this first one because I don't know the format yet that I want. I don't know. I'm recording it as well on video because everybody says that you have to record video for your podcast. So right now we've got a simple phone setup using the DJI Osmo. I think it's the Mobile 6, and recording with the Rodecaster Pro. Um, we're going to figure out intros and outros. That's all going to come. I also kind of got the studio looking good now, but I don't know where we're going to position things for the future. But for now, I've been talking about this podcast for far too long, and I just figured today was the day. Let's get her going and see what we can come up with. One thing that I do want to mention is you can follow Luminaris Photography and uh, TBS, the Viewfinder Sessions. Um, on my website, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, YouTube, TikTok, LinkedIn, and WhatsApp. You can find my photographic work in all those locations. I am hoping to include the podcast throughout all of those locations as well. And yeah, I just invite everybody to follow, subscribe, like, share, comment. Um, I also want people who are going to follow this, um, tune into this, watch it once I do start uploading them to YouTube, just to kind of let me know what you'd like to hear from me. Again, my life, uh, born and raised in Southwestern Ontario in Sarnia. Anybody who knows me, anybody who knows my business name, Omi Nerves Photography, that's a very Newfoundland thing, Newfoundland slang. Omi Nerves got me drove. Um, my roots are Newfoundland. My dad was born in Newfoundland. His family's from Bishop's Falls, which is kind of north central Newfoundland. Anybody familiar with Newfoundland that may not know Bishop's Falls would probably know places like Gander or Grand Falls, Windsor. They're kind of Bishop's is kind of in between those two. Um, yeah, I the kind of the joke is mom and dad got married in '81, December 23rd, '81. Went to Newfoundland on their honeymoon, and 9 months later, yours truly. So I was conceived in Newfoundland. Um, Spent every summer of my childhood growing up back home in Newfoundland. And they say home is where the heart is, and my heart always has been, always will be in Newfoundland. So you're going to hear a lot about Newfoundland on this podcast for sure. Um, but that is kind of, born and raised here, roots in Newfoundland. Um, Grew up in church. Uh, have since kind of found my way through what I believe, and that's I don't want this podcast to be about two things: politics and about religion. But both of those things will play into the different things that we talk about and get into, but aren't going to be the focus of this uh, podcast. So yeah, so I was raised. I went to JKFK in public schools, grade one, grade two. I think I started at my park, and then when mom and dad um, got their job as janitorial uh, for Bethel Pentecostal Church in Sarnia, we moved to the old parishioner house behind the church. So then I transferred to oh my goodness, Confederation Public School, and then around halfway through grade two, I was transferred to a homeschool that a bunch of families from within the church that we attended decided to kind of create. And from grade two to grade eight, I was homeschooled there. Graduated grade eight with, I think, a 93 degree average, 93 percentage average, and moved on to high school. I went into St. Clair Secondary High School. I was 12. I turned 13 a few weeks later, and then I graduated at 16 in June of 1999. I was a graduating class at the end of the century. Um, in all that time, throughout my life, throughout my childhood, these are things we are going to touch on. I don't know how deep we'll get into it. I don't know how surface level we'll stay at, but right now, yeah, I went through a lot as a kid. In grade two, one of the things that helped make the decision to go to homeschool was I had my pants pulled down on me in on a bus, and that was just the beginning. Not even the beginning. I had already dealt with things before that. I mean, I was sexually abused at the age of, I think it was 4. I want to say 8, and then again at, it was 11, 12, 13, in and around that time as well. So these are things that I've dealt with. I almost died a whole bunch of times as a kid due to allergic reactions to antibiotics. Um, yeah, I've dealt with a lot, and I'm not going to sit on this podcast and just talk about a woe is me. We'll get into my life story as we go, but I wanted to do kind of an intro as to who I am and where this all stems from. Um, Graduated high school, like I said, in '99, and decided to just figure life out. Um, those next couple of years, things got a little hairy. Moved to Kitchener Waterloo, got involved with the wrong crowd, and stabbed in the face. Had a gun held to my head. Just things that we do when we're young, and quickly made a decision to move home. I believe it was in '01. '02, I went on a missions trip to England and then to Africa for 2 months. And that sort of is around the time when I really started to fall in love with photography. I bought my first digital camera. It was an Olympus D550, 3 megapixels, with the slide open. And I took that to Africa, and that was kind of the beginning. I mean, before that, I had taken some cameras when we went to Newfoundland on our trips every year, and it was more of a like, oh, that's nice, and taking those candid shots with friends and family. So that's where it all began for me, and yeah, that was in '02, and then '03. I kind of left the church scene a bit, and in that time met my now wife, Tara, and boy, did I fall in love hard. I seen her walking across the parking lot at Canatara Beach, and I was with a friend, and I was like, I'm gonna marry that girl. And that friend, Ida, shout out to Ida, she was like, oh, I know Tara, and so she introduced us, and rest is history. We've been together for 22 years this past July. Next week we celebrate our 19th year married. We have two beautiful kids. Ethan, our son, is 14. Callie, our daughter, is 11. And we've got our adopted uh, four-pod Nash, who's a Border. He's a Border Collie Lab mix. And yeah, it's been a wild ride in the last few years. I think up until just before COVID, actually, I hit my 30th country. Um, what else? Uh, yeah, I think it was around 2009 when photography really kicked up for me. We were moving from out west. We lived in Alberta for a few years, and we had decided to move home. We wanted to have kids, start a family, so we figured that would be smart to do where our families are. But instead of just moving home, we hired movers to move all of our stuff back, and we packed up our 2008, I think it was 2008 or 2009 Honda Civic, and decided to hit the road. We went through Alberta, crossed over to Montana at Glacier National Park, and then we made our way across through Idaho, Washington, into Oregon, and then we did the 101 highway, coastal highway, highway, and then we went along the PCH one in California, which is the other coastal highway, all the way down to Laguna Beach. So that kind of just before that trip, I had decided, you know what, I want to. This is going to be an epic trip, so I need something that makes sense. So I bought my first real DSLR, which was the Canon Rebel XT, and then I think I have the kit lens, which is the 18 to 55. And then at the time, I thought it was amazing, and I mean, really, it is when you're not really even an amateur photographer yet. But I bought the L series 70 to 200 f4 Canon at the time, and that trip we drove, I believe it was about 12,000 kilometers. Um, Stayed in a hotel for 8 nights, slept in the car 4 nights, and I believe we camped at campgrounds in our tent 14 nights. Do the math. I don't know how many nights it was, but once we were done in basically LA, Santa Monica, we went to the pier and we hit uh, Highway 66, Route 66, and we did that from Santa Monica Pier all the way to Chicago. In between, though, we stopped in Vegas for a couple of nights, and then when we left Vegas, we went up through Zion, Bryce, and the Grand Canyon. Those national parks, came back in and joined Route 66 in Flagstaff, Arizona. So there's a little piece there that we didn't do of Route 66, but that 12,000 kilometer trip, along with my Rebel XT, my 70 to 200, my 18 to 55, I might have even had my Tamron 18 to 270. I can't remember, but that trip was when I was kind of cemented. I really liked the idea of capturing things. And yeah, we moved home, bought our first house, had 2 kids, etc. But then in the pandemic, 2020, I'd taken a photo of the Blue Water Bridges in Sarnia, Ontario, and somebody contacted me and said, "Hey, could we purchase prints?" And I kind of was dumbfounded. Like, why would anybody want to buy a print of a photo I took? And shout out to Jamie and Darren. Um, that was kind of the really beginning of this becoming a business. And so I looked into it, didn't know how to price things, didn't know where to print things. I was clueless on what I needed to do. And so I just researched, figured things out, and kind of went with the flow. And from 2020 until almost 2026 now, things have exploded for me. Um, I'm no big, huge influencer by any means, but across socials, I think I have about, I want to say 10,000, give or take a few hundred. Uh, I have been paid by and published by uh, Canadian Geographic, which was a huge one, Down Home Magazine, and Explore Magazine. Been featured by and published by Amateur Photographer magazine. I believe they're over in the UK. Don't quote me on that. Digital Camera World, huge, huge organization out of the UK, and their digital print magazine, which was Digital Photographer magazine. It's no longer. I believe I was in the last edition. They did a 7-page or 8-page spread on my Arctic expedition that we'll talk about on this podcast as well. Yeah, what are some other Canon Canada, Canon USA? I've won awards. Honorable mention, I guess. It's still an award, but from the International Photography Awards, IPA. And I also got honorable mention in the 2023 Canadian Geographic Photographer of the Year. And lots more publications and features and spotlights by online organizations, feature organizations. I've done radio interviews. I've been on TV, CBC, CTV, Kojako, across the country in Northwest Territories, in Newfoundland, right here in Ontario. So had a lot of accolades, and one thing to learn about me real quick, I don't need my shoulder padded. I am humbled every time I get an opportunity to be featured, spotlight, recognized, published, paid. I think it was yesterday. Yesterday was my 43rd birthday. Yeah, I think we can 100%. Yeah, so I received an email even yesterday that one of my images has been shortlisted for the 2027 Canadian Geographic Calendar. I have images in the 2026 CanGeo calendars, and for the 2025, I don't think I have it up. Just off camera up there, but I had images in 2 different calendars, 2 images in a moose calendar with CanGeo, and 1 image in their polar expedition, which was of an iceberg from Newfoundland. The moose calendar, when I received it, I didn't know this, but they selected my image as the cover photo for the 2026, 25, the 2025 calendar, and I was dumbfounded by that. So those are just a few of the accolades that I've been blessed with. But it's cliche, but the thing that I really love the most is when people like Steph Housnell, shout out Steph, send me a message and just say, seeing my passion and my work encourage and motivate them to pick up their camera that they had put down for a long time. And now I look at Steph and other people that have sent me similar messages who are killing it with their photography themselves, turned it into their own kind of side hustle business. And that means the most to me. And using my platform, I said it from day one, OMNP, Omi Nurse Photography, and the same for this podcast, the Viewfinder Sessions, will always be used to elevate the people who are in need, truth, and what matters to me, which is giving back to our community. And so we'll talk a lot more about that as we go along, but that's a very important thing to me. So yeah, that's kind of where we are right now. I am in the middle of my Arctic Frontiers Life at the Edge of a Changing World speaking tour, gallery tour. I'm in the process of trying to write a book that goes with that. I have filmed a ton of content for a documentary that I'm hoping to complete 25, 26 this year, next year, in partnership with Frameworks Media. And it's mean, it's going to be about the wildlife and the landscapes of Churchill, Manitoba, and the edge of the Arctic, but it is also going to be um, about the indigenous community up there, the Churchillians, people from Churchill proper. It's going to be about the ecosystems there. I mean, so often people go up to Churchill and I mean, with all due respect, they take their photos of the polar bears, the beluga whales, and they leave and they do whatever. And that's again neither here nor there, right nor wrong. But I've always been the type of person that when I go somewhere and I commit to that place, my goal is not to take, my goal is to give. And sure, yeah, I mean, I've captured images and video that I'm now using in my tours and in my content. But part of every dollar that I receive is going to Arctic research and science. It's going to Indigenous initiatives and giving back, and that's what's most important to me. So that's kind of what I'm ingrained in and have dove into right now is the book, um, the gallery, the speaking tour, uh, this podcast, um, and the documentary. And those are kind of the things that I'm focused on right now and figuring out as we go. So, yeah, I mentioned earlier all the different social medias, your main ones being the website, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. Find me on all those. All you got to search is Omenerves Photography, OHMENERVES photography, and you should find what you're looking for. I hope. I don't know. I mean, this has been about 22 minutes of me blabbering on about um, kind of my dream with this podcast, what we want to dive into, a little bit about me, um, what I'm up to right now, and I hope that as we go, you'll grow with me. Um, and any podcasters out there, anybody that ends up tuning in, let me know like different things that you would recommend. Again, like I said, very very clear. This is not the setup. I'm going to continually be working on the sound quality. I'm going to get an intro sound, an outro sound. Um, we'll dive in as I learn more about this lovely Rodecaster Pro that I love, um, and the whole format and process of doing a podcast. Uh, just takes a little time, and hopefully you will build with me. Hopefully you will stick around. And like I said, um, this is surface level, but I do, as someone who has suffered from mental health, someone who has dealt with sexual abuse, bullying, as a kid and as an adult, someone who has had a lot of success and accolades when it comes to my photography and traveling. Um, these are all things that I think I have something to offer those of you listening and or watching when I do release the YouTube ones. Um, I have something to offer, and 15 years in the insurance and finance sector. We'll talk about that a little bit as well down the road, um, and taking the leap to put myself first, put my mental health first, and get on that road to pursuing my passions and what matters most to me, which is my mental health, my happiness, my wife, my two children, and living the life that I want to live. So it's a journey. I hope you'll journey with me, and we'll see where things go. So appreciate your time. I appreciate you for sticking around for these 25 minutes. And yeah, drop a comment in in anything that I post this on. Um, Subscribe. I still haven't even figured out what platform or platforms I'm going to release the podcast on, and on YouTube. But yeah, that's enough of me babbling. Take care, everybody. And for now, we're just going to go out to the beautiful sounds of these loons that I recorded just on my phone. I haven't even done any edit to the audio. Um, but there are a bunch of loons that were out on Harding Lake, Northwest Territories, which I was out there in August to partner with Namushka Lodge. Um, but yeah, we'll close out with sounds of them. It's the same sounds we opened up with, and we'll go from there. Thanks everybody for watching and for listening. And one last thing. If you want to be a part of a movement with a podcast and with somebody who's extremely passionate about these topics, we are looking for sponsors. It takes time, energy, and money to record, produce, have the right equipment to do this stuff. And I am looking for businesses, angel investors, silent investors, funders, backers, uh, and even sponsorships for each individual show for the season. Um, I'm looking for people who want to partner together with that. And I don't even know. I'm hoping to start with one podcast a month. We'll adjust if this becomes easy and there's a lot of things to talk about and I can get enough. Oh, that's the other thing too. See, here we go. If you're out there listening or watching, and you have your own individual story, are an expert in, or your field of work is photography, travel, mental health, creative outlets, let me know. I'm looking to have guests on the podcast as well, both in person. I have the ability to do that, as well as on potentially Zoom and or phone calls. So yeah, these are just a couple of things. Again, hopefully an episode a month to start with. And if things pick up and enough of you share and subscribe and like and comment and this takes off and people want to actually listen to my ridiculous voice and me babble on about these things, as well as have other people with me babble on about these things, then we'll see where it goes. For now, signing off. Sean Ansel, Omi Nerves Photography, presenting the Viewfinder Sessions. Take care.